Day 22, Ionic Compounds with Roman Numerals, Part 2. Today we're going to work with ions where there's more than one in the box, and we're going to stick with the cations, the positively charged ions. We're going to stick with the plus ones, and we're going to mix those with the minus twos and the minus threes. So let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with copper, and copper, specifically copper 1. Now because we're working with our math equation of plus 1 minus 2 equals 0, we need two of these copper 1s. And we're going to mix it with one of the oxides. So two of these copper 1s mixed with an oxide. So we have Cu2O, copper 1 oxide. Okay, so it's just like what we did before, except now that we're saying, hey, that there's more than one copper, we have to use this Roman numeral to identify that that is copper 1. So let's look at it a different way. What if I gave you Cu2O and said, tell me if this is copper 1 or copper 2? We have our math equation. Oxide is negative 2. We have to get the 0. We have two things here, minus 2 equals 0. What could these two things possibly be? The only conclusion is that they are plus 1s, so that we can get our math equation to equal 0, and we get copper 1 oxide. Now a different way that works is to write out Cu2O, and what we do is we say oxide, well that's a negative 2. And how many of these oxides do I have? I have one of them. And so we have to get to 0, and so negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So something minus 2 equals 0, and that something is a 2. And so this copper, we have two of them, something times 2 is a positive 2, and so that something has to be a plus 1. So we know that we're working with copper 1 oxide. So there's some tools there that you could use to help you clarify which copper you're using. But you needed to know that copper has more than one in the box, therefore we must use that Roman numeral. Other than that, it's the exact same as we did last week. So copper 1 again, and instead of oxide we're going to use sulfide. Copper 1 sulfide, Cu2S. Gold 1 selenide. Thallium 1 oxide, and gold 1 oxide. See how that works? All we did is take the plus 1s, right, with the minus 2, followed our math equation, got the 0, wrote out our formula. Then we named our formula using the Roman numerals because there's more than one in the box for all of these ions. If there was only one in the box, we would never use the Roman numerals. So let's use our other equation. Plus 1 minus 3 equals 0. Again, we pick an ion where there's more than one in the box, and you know, copper is just as good as any of the other ones. So we have copper 1, and then I'm going to write it down 3 times for copper 1, and we're going to mix that with a nitride. So we have 3 of the coppers and 1 of the nitrides. Copper 1 nitride. Everything else is exactly the same. So go back through copper 1 phosphide, gold 1 phosphide, thallium 1 nitride, gold 1 nitride. Everything else is exactly the same. But what about naming? Let's try it. Here we have Cu3N. Cu3N. The first thing you would notice is that this is copper. And copper has more than one in the box. You're trying to figure out which ion of copper this is. So what you have to do is you have to go to this nitride, and you know that nitride is minus 3, and we have to get the 0. So 3 of these charges, minus 3 equals 0. What possible values could we get for copper? Our math equation says that they all have to be plus 1s. So if I have 3 of the plus 1s, that's a positive 3 minus 3 equals 0. That's what's going to do it for me. So this method works great. Let's try something else. Let's write it out this way. Cu3N. All right. Nitride is minus 3. There's only one of them. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. We have to get to 0. So if we have to get to 0, something minus 3 equals 0, and that something is a 3. All right, so something times 3 gives me this positive 3 here. What could it possibly be? Is a plus 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. We have to get to 0. Positive 3 minus 3 equals 0. Something times 3 is a positive 3. This something is a positive 1. Copper 1 nitride. All right, so that's how we'd write that out. So this should have been a pretty easy day. All we had to worry about was, hey, is there more than one in the box? All right, so go name some compounds. Keep working on that table. The more you work on the table, there you go, the better you're going to be at naming these compounds. Keep practicing, get that homework and quiz out of the way, and have a great day.